And I'm Jamie from King Voodoo.
And you're watching the Paranormal Brew.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Ooh, I think today was the first technical difficulty show of Paranormal Brews in a long time.
No problem.
I apologize, Bill. How are you?
No. All right, good. I feel like thanks for having me on. I feel like we've been talking about this forever.
I know, right? Doesn't it seem like it's been forever?
Exactly.
Hey, April. Hi, Zach. Zach says I've chatted with Bill on one of my posts. Nice guy. Yes. This keeps happening. Metro. I don't know anything about this stuff, and I keep getting told from all of my amazing psychic medium friends and this and that it's Mercury retrograde. So, yeah. Hi, Farmer. So thank you, Bill, for joining me. I everybody that watches the show knows who I am. I'm host of Paranormal Brew. However, in case people don't know who you are, why don't we I'm just going to let you talk. Start at the beginning, how you got into this, where you're at. I know when I created the event, you were like, I think in classes or doing something with parapsychology, or you're still doing something with parapsychology. Yep. So I just kind of want to start at the beginning, and how you got to where you're at right now.
Sure. Well, my name is Bill Slevin. I'm the founder and lead investigator for the Paranormal Existence Research Society down in Coral Springs, Florida. I started it in about 2015, but I've been doing this for a little over 30 years now. I've worked with, tons of teams independently many times until I decided to finally form my own team and not have to deal with a lot of the drama.
Yes.
So that's the main reason. But I've been into this since I was young. I mean, I was an empath. I never knew it. I never knew what that was back then. Nobody, years ago, it wasn't something that everybody talked about a lot, paranormal and everything, before TV shows and, going back 30, 40 years. It's very different, during the day, I'm an IT director for a psychiatric drug and alcohol treatment facility. So helps me a lot. I've done well over 500 residential homes. And working there for the past 9 years or so has actually really helped me learn a little more about the psychiatric side and the addiction side, and kind of how to tell a little bit, because, we go into a lot of cases where it could be one, could be the other, could be both.
Right.
So it's something that definitely, helps me. I've studied a lot of stuff over the years, as much as I can. I have some degrees in parapsychology. I'm working right now on my PhD in parapsychology and metaphysical humanistic science through IMHS. So I'm hoping to have that sometime the end of this year, maybe, when I just haven't had a lot of time to finish up on it right now.
Right.
So,
but how did so were you always into the paranormal? Always?
Yeah, when I was young, I was always into horror, paranormal. Like I always say, like, you have, kids back then when you were young, everybody was scared of things, scared of the local haunted house and everything. I was more the one trying to get in to see what was going on. Nothing really scared me back then. It was more interest me, and then having some of my own experience here and there, it made me want to learn more about what it was, and was it real, and what was I experiencing, and it was never like a scared thing for me. I think maybe once I was scared from The Exorcist when it first came out.
Really?
That was about it.
Everybody says that's like their like that's their scariest movie, or like their this and that. But I honestly, it's like not even in my top favorite 10.
Well, it was more from the time and my age at that time.
True. But you know what, though? I'm a huge fan. The Entity is up there for me.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
That movie scared the crap out of me. And still to this day, I watch it and I can't even. It's probably one of the scariest movies I think I've ever seen. Like,
it's funny when we talk about horror. I've been into horror all my life, and really one of the scariest movies, people laugh at me, was The Strangers to me. I don't know why. It just was one of those movies that seemed so realistic. That
movie is up there too. scared the F out of me. There's no way. And now it ruins, like, when you go to stay at a cabin in the woods, like that movie
Yeah.
always pops in my head.
You can't. It's different than that was real. It was real in a way. It wasn't a monster. It wasn't a ghost. It wasn't ghosts don't scare me, but that
People, I know, that's why I
living
don't
people scarier.
exactly. That's why I don't like Wrong Turn. I don't
Yes.
like, like I am scared to death of wrong turn people. Like I really believe they exist out there. So
Well,
like,
I'm originally from New Jersey, also, and up way up north there, you had the Jacks and the Whites,
well, and
which
I'm right around the corner from the Pine Barrens,
yeah, exactly.
you know? So Jersey's full of them.
Yes, I
Like
mean,
it's just crazy, but that's how people are like saying a whole bunch of things. Hi, Linda Blair, spewing blood, head spinning around. Yeah, I don't know. Hi Laura. I never, The Exorcist never did it for me, and everybody says that. They all say that was like their, the
it was
movie.
the age. I think for me, it was the age. It was the first, and again back then, you didn't have paranormal TV, and you didn't have all that stuff. So something to come out like that, it was the first time a lot of people saw something to that effect. Over like a Wolfman movie or a vampire movie or something. It was
Right.
something very different and freaked a lot of people out.
You know what movie people don't ever say?
Hmm.
Literally, The Blob.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I mean, I know that really couldn't happen, but what if it could?
yeah, you never know.
Like the way the world's going nowadays, who knows what somebody's going to concoct in their basement all this time of not being able to do anything, like,
right. You never know.
but the Blob, like the original, like the Blob from back in the day, like,
Right.
like,
No,
granted, cinematography, this and that, it's changed, and the way they make things and movies, and then probably a lot of people think it was cheesy, but I remember watching that when I was little, and that scared I laughed at The Exorcist, and I was scared of the Blob.
right. Right.
Go figure.
Well, it was probably, again, it was something you think, could this actually happen? Especially that young, you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, homemade slime comes to life. Exactly. Somebody is going to create the Blob. Watch.
The next COVID.
And then you had The Thing. Remember The Thing?
Yeah.
The Thing. How could you, like, I see, this is why The Exorcist doesn't come into play, because it's like all those movies scared the crap out of me. Like The Thing was a scary movie.
But the thing with The Exorcist was also, I grew up Catholic, so
Yeah.
it kind of was like a big deal. It was like, hey, what's going on? And again, I was young, and I'm learning about stuff, and you don't really know at that time much about that. So I think that's why it really freaked a lot of people out at the time.
Yeah. And then, and then people were playing with Ouija boards all the time too. It was a game, right? And then they're like, holy shit, we've been playing with a Ouija board, and look, we're gonna get possessed now.
Exactly.
But anyways,
Yeah.
And what's weird about that, I don't even know how we started talking about movies.
I don't know. We're talking about The Exorcist. I don't know.
Yeah, because one of the questions was, what's your favorite horror movie? So that already got, but even Amityville Horror didn't scare me.
No,
it didn't.
that
And
one.
neither did The Shining. The Shining didn't. It's not even, those movies aren't even in my top 5. Like,
Right.
I don't know why. They're just not, like, maybe because everybody makes such a big deal about those movies.
Right.
Maybe but those movies aren't ones when I sit there and you still think about I'm not the only one that does this, so I'm not crazy. But like, you'll just all of a sudden think about that one part in a movie where you're like, oh, that was fucked up or freaky or scary.
Right.
I have something from each of those movies. I don't have anything from 1408 was a good movie. That was a really good movie. But I don't have anything from The Exorcist. I don't have anything from, like, I laugh about it. Like, I laugh about The Exorcist. While she was like, fuck me, and doing all this crazy stuff. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, what makes me laugh is, like, from that time era, that was very that was very edgy.
Oh, yeah. So was The Entity. I mean, those were things that were a big deal back then. you know.
Yeah.
But again, I was young too, so I think it just kind of plays in a little bit, you know.
Yeah. Pet Cemetery, I can't even because of the cat and like it just, you know. And then you got the little boy. Pet Cemetery was, but I will tell you this: I never got a. Now I've had 5 cats
Mm,
at one point, and I steered clear from the gray cats with the yellow eyes because of Pet Cemetery.
right.
You bring up Pet Cemetery, then you bring up Cujo.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't even watch
Cujo.
it. Can't watch it.
Again, certain movies were from certain eras, you know, certain times, certain
Yeah.
things, and you know, it depends on it. You know, you go rewatch. Like if I watch Exorcist now, it's not going to do a thing to me, especially since I've been pretty much involved in stuff like that. So, you know, but back then it was a little strange.
Yeah. Carol says, the more times I watched The Exorcist, worse it got. I'm guessing, like you said, the more I learned, the scarier it got. Um,
But the more you get involved, the less scary it gets. You
right.
kind of
Like
get
the more,
immune.
right. Like when you get into this field, right? It's like, you know that that's like far and few that like you'll never see that probably.
Right. Well, I've been involved in about
Oh,
5 definite demonic cases and a few, you know, a few others that could have been, and, you know, it's rare. It is rare, but there are some things out there,
oh,
and
I believe it. I believe that there's definitely I have a healthy respect. I have a
mhm,
healthy, fearful respect for it. So when I was a part of a group, I told we had a special response team. We all investigated together,
right,
but there was like maybe 10 to 12 people that only went out to like red flag cases or like stuff like that, you know?
right, right,
Um, I would tell them all the time. And I wound up being the co-director of the group. And I still said, uh, I don't want anything a pinkish hue coming my way. I want Casper only. And that's what
right,
all I
right.
did. You know, I fought the state. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to walk into, but I did pretty good. I'd say, knock on wood, so
Well,
far.
that's the thing. I mean, I always when I'm on interviews and stuff, I always wind up talking about my first actual residential because it turned out to be a demonic case with an attack. So it's like I kind of was thrown right in, and you kind of know from that point, like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Because some people that might have scared them right away and never ever went back. You know,
Right.
and the same like you, I've been lucky that everything I've been part of and doing this for this long that I haven't had any real issues and I haven't had things follow me home and I haven't really been attacked like that. I mean, I've had some weird experience, but I've never really been attacked. They attacked the guy next to me, which is, you know, something that those are the things that make you look for answers. Like, why did it attack him?
Yeah.
You know?
I've had some things happen where we were flirting with each other,
Mhm.
and I somehow managed to still even, I mean, like we got like this close,
Mhm.
and I managed to not still
Right.
continue to go down that path, you know what I mean, that direction with it. So
Right.
I don't think it's in my cards. Like, I believe that people are truly into that side of it. They have a call. That was their calling. You know,
Right.
anybody that says I want to be doing that is insane,
Mhm.
and stay away from them.
I see, you know, I'm in all those groups on Facebook and everything, and I see these people all the time when people are saying stuff and people are like, "Oh, it's a demon, it's
They
this,"
have no
but
like,
it's so ridiculous. But the ones that comment under that going, "Oh, wow, I would really like to see that. I wish I was there." No, you wouldn't. You know, it may look interesting on TV, even scary on TV, but it's a controlled environment. You really wouldn't wanna be there as cool as you may think it is. It's
so not cool.
no. No, no, no. It's, you know, again, I've been there. I've never been part of an actual exorcism on a person, but I've been to a handful of home
Negative.
exorcisms, you know, that were pretty intense, that things I've never took my beliefs to a different level, you
Yeah,
know?
and see, that's the thing I always hear with people with negative cases is, you you walk away from it with a whole entire different look on life in itself, because you
Absolutely.
experience something that Yeah, I've only seen on TV, but holy
That's
shit, it exists.
That's it right there. That's the thing. Like when I'm telling stuff, when I do conventions, I do things and we're talking and people ask me what's the scariest thing. Would I tell things and I tell them, I do not expect you to believe this. You had to be there to understand it. And there were some things that, of course, TV and movies enhance things and they make it entertaining. But there are things that actually do happen that you will never forget if you witness them. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it's not
I mean,
everything you see, but there is some that you could definitely never forget.
yeah, I believe it. I mean, one of my best friends does that. She helps teams out. They'll call her when they get a negative case or whatever, and that's all she
Right.
does. And
Mm,
so I see like what it can do. You know what I mean? And being involved with those kinds of cases. And
right.
I'm like, yep, I'm good. I will. I'm like, I will go to battle with you anytime you want, except that.
Right. Right. I fortunately I know a bit about it. So at least if me or my team or we get involved with something like that, I have an idea of what I'm doing. I've studied it long enough. I mean, I can't do an exorcism, but I know at least how to protect us and what to do if something happens and who to call for help if I need some and you
You
know
know, and that's true because you know what? There was a point in time. I've been involved with this. I started doing it like not with zero knowledge. So like
Mhm.
basically, I looked like a baby Zach Baggins running around cemeteries and saying throw stuff
Right.
at me and being like because I didn't know any better.
Right.
And there was a point in time where like I was seriously thinking like, who do you trust to go to deal like if I myself like if I knew something was like wrong with like something wasn't right.
Right.
Like there was a point in time where it's like you like I was scared to still be involved because I was like, what if something were to happen to me? Like who would I go to?
Right.
Because there's so many people out there that are fake that aren't,
Mhm.
it's very hard to I'm not saying you. I'm saying
Right.
like
Right. No,
there
there
was
is.
a point in time where you're like, now thankfully I know Carl Johnson, James Anito, my best friend Sabrina,
Mhm.
you know, even you now that I know you've dealt with it, and I trust you,
Right.
um but there was a point in time where I was like,
And now I have a huge connection of amazing people that I'm a member of the Warren Legacy Foundation,
mhm.
and it is just an amazing group
I'll
of
be at
people.
that Paracon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I have I don't know. Oh, that's up in the one up in Pennsylvania.
Now Mohegan Sun. Is that
Oh,
what that is?
oh, that one. Yeah, yeah. No, that's different. There's two different things. That's
I get
the
them so confused.
Yeah, there's two different parts of the Warrens. There's their team, which is the NESPR, I think it is, and that's run by Judy and Tony Spera, who
Okay.
Judy was the daughter of the Warrens.
Right.
Now, the Legacy Foundation is run by Chris McKennell, who's Judy's son, so it's the grandson, and him and Lorraine formed this before she passed away, and it's just like a network of people around the world that are very specific in residentials and how we do things and how to help people so that cases come into them and they get shared out to the people that are closest to them to get them the best help possible. Chris actually used to investigate, I think, since he was 16 with his grandparents. He was in a lot of the big cases. He knows a lot. And it's just a lot of very respectable people in that group that
Well, that's good.
know, yeah, they know
So, but,
everything.
so but they don't work together?
No, well, they do. It's like me. Like I'm a member, so my team is a member now. So if a case comes in, it will go to me if it's in the local area, and I will go in with my team representing them. You have to go
Right.
through a process with them. So it's kind of like the Paranormal Research Network that I created. It was to bridge people together, and it's good for everybody. It's good for people who need help
Wait,
because
what's your paranormal research network?
it's very similar. It's funny because I started that a little bit before I got hooked up with the Warren Legacy. What it is, and Tom Springer is in it. I
Well,
started.
that's the PERS, right?
Yes, no, that's the Paranormal Research Network. So PR PRN. That's a little different. That's the other little logo he has on his thing. So what it is, it's the same thing. I created back before. I don't know if you knew my team member that passed away last November, Tim Yancey, who was very,
Mm.
very big in the industry. He
Yeah,
had
no,
worked
I don't believe I knew him.
he had worked with the Warrens. He was best friends with George Lutz from Amityville. He's on all the Amityville documentaries and everything. He was a violent haunting survivor when he was young. But I was working with him because he's very big on how to really do residentials and counsel people, no matter if it is, something paranormal or something else, and how to really help them. So I started with him, and then he passed, and I created this network that it's gonna people can sign up if you're on your by yourself or a team. You can sign up to it and go through a little bit of a kind of an interview, learn what you're about, and if you have those kind of beliefs and empathy to help people, we could put you into network. So if I get calls, and oh my god, so many a week, and I can't handle them because they come from every state. So
Right.
with this, I can pass them on to people who I trust, and they could get as much help as possible. Even with Tom, I brought him on, and right away somebody contacted me, and they were 20 minutes from him. So he
Right.
was able to go over there and help them. So it's just something bridging people together. And I don't think, oh, we're above everybody else or anything like that. It's not about that. It's more about it's a specific type of investigating, with residentials. And I tell people who are learning, if you know what, if you've been watching the TV shows and you want to get into this, by all means, go do it. But before you start going into people's homes for residential cases, you need to work with people who have been doing this before
Yep.
TV.
You have to learn.
It-
You have to
Because
get educated.
if you learn from TV, you don't have that type of knowledge of how to work with people correctly.
Right.
Because TV is more about, public investigations and
Well,
all
they
that.
also don't show you that part. They
Right.
don't show you all the work afterwards. Like when you're dealing with a residential, it doesn't stop after an investigation, and you're not
Right.
there to get evidence. You're there to help them with whatever it is. So
Right.
if they're saying, "Oh, every night I'm hearing this banging noise on the ceiling in my room at 1 o'clock," well, we're going to go in the attic. We're going to see what's could be causing that, what's happening,
Exactly.
or you know, you come up with something and you're not telling them you got to leave, burn your house down,
Right.
because it wants to kill you, like stuff like that. Like you're not doing that either. It doesn't tell. And then you have the follow-ups. You talk to
Right.
them 24 hours, 48, then it's like a week, and then 2 weeks, and then
Yeah.
to make sure, because you're going in there and investigating.
Yeah,
So
and it's a lot of time. I mean, when we go do we do the initial interview on the phone, but when we go to the
yeah.
initial investigation at the house, we'll sit there with them sometimes for 3, 4, 5 hours just talking to them to hear everything.
Well,
For
see, I
Mhm,
always like to we do a phone, and then I email them, or I
mhm,
just email them a questionnaire. We
right,
talk on the phone. We set up like a prelim. So
right,
me and one other person or two other people will go over there during the day just for a couple of hours to sit down with the family, go over the questionnaire again to
right,
make sure the answers are all still legit, and whatever.
exactly.
And there's times where that's all they need is that.
Yep,
We
yep,
help them through that. There's sometimes a phone call just helps. I mean,
right.
you know, and then if it does have to go to an investigation, or they want it to go to an investigation, because one of the most important questions I think to ask people is, what is it that you want from our help?
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, we don't do those full-blown overnight investigations that often. I mean, it's more we go in, we do a walkthrough, we talk to them, we learn everything, we see what we feel also. We may have a few little pieces of equipment with us, but I don't use 90% of my equipment in a person's house. And sometimes we'll just say, "Hey, you know what? We need to cleanse the house," and that's it. And mo 90% of the time, we don't have to go back after that, you
Yeah,
know? Sometimes it's just energy in the house, we
yeah,
cleanse the energy, but sometimes we go back, sometimes people keep bringing it back in, sometimes people believe there's honestly, the hardest part of a residential investigation is not trying to find out what it is, not trying to get it out, it's trying to convince the people that there is nothing paranormal if it's not. That's the
yeah.
hardest part.
Oh yeah,
It
because
really is.
your mental is your brain is, thinking, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, and I say this every show, the mind is a powerful thing, you
yeah,
know, and And if you can convince yourself, if a woman can convince herself she's pregnant and have all the signs and symptoms and everything going on,
Right.
and then convince herself she's not, but she really is,
Yeah.
like the mind is such a powerful thing. Once that seed's planted, it's so hard to.
Absolutely. It is, because if I tell everybody, like when we go in the house, like you're saying, they'll talk to us, and a lot of times we're the first people that actually are listening to them and not judging them. So they tend to get very comfortable with us and tell us everything. And when you're sitting there talking to them, we tell them, like, a lot of, well, they'll say, "Oh, we heard the door close, or we heard this voice," and you believe us, right? I tell them, 100% everything you tell me, I believe. You know, um, the thing is, if you heard a voice, you heard a voice. Doesn't mean it's paranormal, but you heard that voice. So I believe you heard it, and I believe you're telling me the truth. Now we have to find out what it is, where it came from. You know,
Mhm.
so it's never anything like that. But once you get it in your head, and if somebody gets scared enough, it is hard to get out of your head, kind of like a panic attack. You
Yep.
know, once it
And
gets in your head, you can't
yeah,
stop it.
right. And
It,
alongside with telling somebody that is convinced that there's paranormal stuff or evil stuff happening in their house, when you find out, like there's been times where I've walked through and we've gone over this questionnaire. Now, mind you, I'm emailing to them, they're filling it out. I'm
right.
calling them, we're going over it. Now I'm at their house, we're going over it. And you still find that they're lying about stuff, right?
Mhm.
So to me, that right there is a red flag. If
Yep.
you're lying about something, it doesn't matter what it is. You don't lie. I tell them it's confidential. It'll never go anywhere.
Right.
So if you say that you're not, you know, you're nobody's on any medications, I'm
Mhm.
going in your bathroom. I'm opening up your medicine cabinet and I'm looking. I
Right.
will open drawers. I will open, because it's not just these people. Like I have to worry about whoever's going into
Right.
a home with me.
Right. And that right there is why I say people need to people need to 100% learn about this before they go into a person's home, because say something like that. Let's say they say, um, "Hey, I know I'm not on any medication." Okay? And then you start talking to them, and you start somebody who doesn't know better and doesn't know to look or doesn't know the signs of how to tell. You could be dealing with somebody, say, who's schizophrenic and hasn't been on their meds. And now if you start to make them believe there's something paranormal in there, you can be doing serious harm to that person. Not just put at risk of your team, but that person, now, because if they're, say, schizophrenic and they're hearing voices in their head, they're really hearing voices in their heads. But
Yeah.
now if you get anything in their head that it is a ghost or a demon or something, you can make them totally go off.
Well, absolutely. And another thing, I don't go investigating, chasing, So if
Right,
somebody says, "Oh, I have a friend, they want you to come to their house." I'm like, "Here's my email, here's my cell, have them contact me." It has to be the homeowner.
right.
Has to be the homeowner.
Yes.
What first of all. And then one of the questions we also ask is, does everybody agree with what's going on in the house? So
Mm.
like if you have a wife that wants us to come in, but the husband's like, "Fuck you guys, you're not coming in. I don't
Right.
want anybody coming in
Can't.
my house." That's not going to work. Everybody has to
Right.
be in agreement.
Yeah, I've had those issues plenty of times
Oh
where.
yeah, and you have to know how to deal with those issues, right?
Yes, you do, you do. I mean, you get all types, and it is, again, like you said with the questionnaire, when you fill out my investigation request form online, it's pretty big. And again, it's on purpose. So I want to get all the information, and then we go over it and we go over it and we let you, kind of talk to us and get comfortable. And because sometimes the more comfortable you get with them there, the more they all of a sudden let out, and it's important for us. We're not trying to pry into their medical conditions or their, psychiatric, history. We wanna know, because that's how we're gonna help them, and that's how they're gonna help us. We need to know everything. If you're
Right.
keeping stuff from us, we're not gonna know what's going on, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and that's so true. And then, I like to show up as inconspicuous as possible. You know what I mean? So you don't want to draw any attention to the home and this and that. So
Right, right.
I try to meet people somewhere. We'll go together in one car. You know, we're not
Mhm.
wearing we don't wear our group shirts, or we don't wear like anything with anything on there that says any ghost thing or anything, you
Right,
know,
right.
because, you know, I mean, you're trying to 100% keep them the confidentiality of your client at that
Right.
point,
I
unless they want it, and then that's a red flag.
right,
Like if
right,
they
right.
want, I mean, I had a client one time say, "Oh, do you care if like 10 of my friends come over?" I'm like, "What?
I've had them just show up.
No,
I've had them just show up. We'll be there, and then all of a sudden, doorbell rings, and like
I
10
would
people
leave.
come in.
I
Yeah.
would leave."
No, no, you have to because it's just not a good environment to begin with.
And
But
it's uncontrolled.
yeah, I do normally wear our shirts. Some people, some people don't. I do just because I try to show them that we're professional. But you know, it depends on. It also depends on the person, and it
It does.
depends
It
on.
depends on the
Yeah,
client. Like
yeah.
if they don't care,
Right,
then
right, right.
awesome, you know, but
And some people, some of the calls I get, it's like you want to help everybody and you can't always. I had a guy that used to
right.
call me. He was young. I don't know how old he was. He never really told me, but I don't think he was over 18. And because he lived at home, he lived with his parents here. And he was in my town. And he called me, I don't know how many times. The first time I thought he was playing, but then I kind of you learn to judge, and I could hear the fear in his voice when he's talking to me and calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning. And he was freaking out, saying that there was a demon in his house. And he's telling me, now here's the things, I don't know if he was drinking or what he was doing, but he's like, I said, I've tried many times. I go, listen, give me your address. Let me talk to you. Let me come over and talk to you, your family. What's going on? Let me see. No, 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 I can't do that. Can't do that. He was just really freaked out, though. I don't, maybe his parents didn't believe him or something. Like I said, I think he was younger, but he told me
Or
the one night.
maybe I like a medical, maybe he needed
Could
this
have. Yeah.
medical attention.
Could have been medical, could have been addiction, it could have been anything. But he then, one night when he called me, he was freaking out and he was saying, "Oh, there's a demon, and I'm chasing it. I'm going to get my cross. I'm going to chase it." I go, "It's really not a good idea."
Yeah.
You feel bad, and then he wouldn't hear from him for like 6 months. It's tough too because you try not to get like emotionally attached to people. But I've dealt with so many cases with kids and things that you want to help everybody, as
Yep,
much as you can.
absolutely.
That's why I do it, and don't charge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
then that's the thing. That's what's so important about exposing fake and fraudulent people,
Mhm.
because we don't charge.
Yeah.
You
I
shouldn't charge. Like, you know, and like now the psychic mediums and people that do this for a living, that's one thing. That's totally
Right.
different. But as far as this goes, you don't charge.
Some people do charge for travel, and you know what? That's up to them. I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, if you really wanted me, and you wanted me in 5 states away, and you were begging me, and it's the only way I could get out there, I may say it, but I have never done it yet. You know, so we try to help everybody we can. I wish we could help more. That's why the Warren Foundation is great, and the Paranormal Research Network, and try to bridge people together because it's good for us too. Because when I have an issue, I could call somebody that may
Yeah,
know something I don't.
absolutely.
And there's no judgment there. There's no drama. There's no territories. There's no nothing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that. But you know, I got to tell you something funny. So I
Yeah.
started. I'm not allowed to start it, but I
Mm.
started it. Technically, it's not. I didn't put it out there. I mean, it's on Facebook, but it's
Right.
like I haven't invited anybody to the page or anything like that. But I started. It's called Paranormal Organization and Research Network,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Mm.
But the problem is, Bill, is this is the, and I did this on purpose. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
I worked around it, and that's what I came up with.
Mhm.
So this is what was behind.
Well, that will grab a lot of attention. I don't know if it's the one you want, but it'll.
It's nothing, but there is a page, you know.
Right. Right.
I have a logo, you know. It just sits there. It just sits there. I don't invite anybody. I share things to it. I share
Right.
things to it,
Right.
but because I was told I'm not allowed to do it, so I'm like,
Right.
okay, I'm just gonna put this over here then in the corner right
Yeah.
now. But anyway, there's
Yeah.
some questions.
Yeah.
So I want to get to those really quick. All right.
I just want to say hey to Dom and Kelly.
Oh, Yes. What has been the strangest case that you have done that still leaves your head scratching your head to this day?
Um, Probably every one of the demonic cases I was involved in. Um, they're just it's things that I never thought I would see that I really like I said, I really thought I would only see them on TV. You know, there was one case where and I'm gonna talk about this, and I know you know about this again in these groups. I'm in all these Facebook groups and I try to help people kind of understand what they're looking at and everything. And one of the biggest things is the orbs. And I try to explain to people what a true orb is. It's so rare. It's hardly ever captured on film. I don't know anybody who's ever captured an actual orb on film. It's a solid 3D ball of energy that
Right.
floats around, emits its own light. It's not translucent, it's not transparent, it's nothing like that. But at one of these demonic cases, as the priest was doing the minor rite of exorcism on the house, one of these appeared. It was the first one I've ever seen. And it was about, I'd say about that big. And it was floating all over the room. It was going crazy. And as he was reading this, and it flew into the corner, it expanded into a giant, like 7, 8 foot, like smoke shadow type of thing, disappeared. And then a couch lifted up about, I don't know, 2, 3 feet off the ground and flew across the room into the wall. Now, that is something I always used to say on the movies and everything. That's not possible
Right.
because ghosts don't have really the power to do that. I've seen them knock stuff off the counters and maybe something, but nothing like this. And it did leave me scratching my head. And this was way back in the
Scratching my
early.
head. I would have ran.
No, I was strangely calm.
Yeah, no. But I'm afraid of that. You're right. Like that's what I might want nothing to do with it. I would be like, not my shit. I'm out.
I looked at you know what I looked at it as? I looked at it as the things you saw on TV from years ago, like Don't Break the Circle. It was kind of like it was going on. I'm not running, I'm not moving, I'm staying here until it's done. I have people with me that know what they're doing too. So let me just kind of ride it out. But the thing is, it's things like that I leave and when it happens, the first thing I'm doing, I wasn't scared. The first thing I'm doing is looking around. Could they have done this? Could they have rigged this? What's the deal? But again, we're going back to the early 90s and it wasn't for attention. These people were very confidential. All of these
Right.
cases I was
Absolutely.
involved in. Nobody
Absolutely.
was looking for media attention. Nobody was,
Right.
so those things definitely still to this day leave me scratching my head because, how did that fully happen?
And
you
see,
know,
and this is the thing. This is why
there you
did you
go.
see that?
Yeah. See, just
My
talking about it.
my den light went on.
Just talking about it. See?
But anyway, we shut that off.
Yeah.
Anyway, I forgot what I was gonna say. That totally like
No, we're saying about, how it leaves you wondering what it was and wanting to know
well,
why and how it happened.
that's what I was gonna say. Like all the little newbies coming in, and I mean that respectfully. I'm not saying anything,
Yeah.
but the newbies all have to listen to. That's why I try to get people on that have been in this for a while, that have been
Mhm.
doing this for a while, because you know the old school knowledge is what needs to be heard.
Right.
And um, I use the equipment I use. I try to use equipment that's not made for ghost hunting.
Right. Right.
And it's no disrespect to anybody's stuff or equipment or anything like that, because I'll play with the stuff, but
Right.
I can't really say 100% that anything is ever correlated with something that would be spirit or ghost or whatever you want to call it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because it's made for that purpose.
Right. I'm an IT director too, so I am a techie. I have cases and cases and cases of equipment. But it's more for public investigations to
Right.
test it out, to learn how it works, learn what works good with one thing, more for research. But when
Well,
you're in
don't get me
somebody's
wrong. It's
house,
cool. It's cool when you have
yeah,
stuff, interacting, and you feel like you're getting responses. And in
right.
the moment, it's cool, But you can't say that. Here's my evidence.
Yeah. I won't go into somebody's house and say, "Listen, we know there's something in here because look at this stick figure." I
Right.
can't I can't do that, so it's fun to play around with and some of it I believe is really good evidence, but I wouldn't use it in somebody's home. you know.
Um, question: what is your view on doppelgangers and mimic spirits?
I haven't had a lot of experience with that. You know, to me, I believe anything can kind of mimic something. I mean, anything can, you know, especially demonic. Again, it is rare. It is, but I believe that since they were never an earth-born person, they could kind of, you know, kind of transform into whatever they want. Um, you know, I don't know. I
Well, then
haven't.
you got Men in Black.
Yeah,
Men in Black. They look like people.
yeah, and
I don't know what
I
they are, but
I haven't had any actual experiences to where I can tell you this was a you know, a doppelganger. I never had it to where it was proven. You know, maybe some that could have been because they really looked like somebody specific or people believed it was mimicking somebody, but I don't know. I never had that experience, you
mhm.
know, so I
If
can't
you ever
prove
see another one of me, run.
it. Yeah, me too.
You don't need another one of me running around.
If I go in somewhere and I see myself, I'm definitely leaving.
That would be weird. I would leave too. Ajing from Indonesia. How are you, lovely, beautiful? One of my most favorite people on this planet. She asks, how long do you usually overcome exorcism? Is there a longer one? I think what she's asking is, what is the time frame
For an extra for
deal
an
with a
actual
case like to deal with a case like that?
that's tough. Exorcisms, it depends again if it's a house or if it's a person. If it's a person, it seems to be a little different. And I mean, they've gone on for months and months and months, you know, going back and forth. In a house, in the ones I've been in, um, I would say the first or second time, I mean, we were there for hours. You were like a 20-minute read this and we we're done. You're talking about 5, 6 hours in the house. Um, and one of them we had to go back 3 times. Um, you know, so it depends. I believe it depends on what's going on in the house, what the people are doing. Because just like a spirit, you leave and they bring it back, it's still going to be there, you know. But
Right.
it can last. It can last a long, long time, especially when it's on a person. It
Yeah.
depends on the level of the demon. It depends on, you know, how powerful they are and how hard they are to get rid of. I mean, I know of exorcisms that went on for really for months, you know, back and forth.
I feel like, and I could be wrong. Anybody can correct me, James himself or Carl, but I feel like they said they had one that went on for a couple years, maybe.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't them. Maybe I saw that in a movie. I don't know.
it depends
I
on the
take that back.
person
I
too.
retract.
It depends on the person too, because like say a demon, it does go after like when I say weak-minded, I don't mean weak-minded like they're you know dumb. It's weak-minded that they're kind of oppressed. It could be somebody has depression. It could be somebody who's missing a loved one, whatever that kind of gets taken over. And it depends on how strong they are to fight it off,
Right.
because they have to be able to fight it off themselves also.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
see, this is what I get when people tell me, like, oh, when they say, oh, the homeowner, the guy, the man, the husband was possessed and he called me for help. That's not going to happen.
no, no, definitely not.
The person that is supposedly possessed is not going to pick the phone up and go, "Hey, Bill, can you come help me? Because I
Have a
want to get
problem.
rid of. I have a problem. I want to get rid of this thing." No,
Right. They're not gonna know what it is. They're gonna think something's going on, but they're not gonna know, and they're not gonna know at the time
and at first they're
of
going to want it,
yeah, no, exactly. They're gonna be
but
they're
they're
at
not
that
going to know
point,
it.
yeah, at that point, they have no real mind control. They
I,
don't really know.
the perfect song I think that describes something like that to the fullest extent, like to say like as far as going as Emily Rose. I know that's
Mm,
not her real name, but
right, right.
the song by Metallica. Um, oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? Um,
I'm trying to think of which one you mean. I don't
Sad
know.
but true.
Oh, yeah.
If
Yeah.
you listen to the lyrics of that song from start to finish,
Mhm.
it starts out where he's like, "Yeah, I'm your friend. I'm this, I'm that," but by the end of it, he's like, "I no longer care."
Yeah.
Do it
Yeah. Yeah. That
I mean, the
could
whole
be.
song.
Yeah.
So, not just the Rolling Stones one. I know there's a Rolling Stones one that's
Right. Right.
Hope You Guess My Name. That one, I forget I'm not a big Rolling Stones fan, but
No,
anyway.
no, me neither. Metallica, yeah, Rolling Stones.
It's that Pleased to Meet You. Hope You Guess My Name. You know.
Right.
So yeah,
But
somebody's
yeah,
gonna.
it, it can go on a long time, honestly.
Yeah, where are we going with that?
She was asking how long it goes.
Do you have a favorite location you like to investigate?
I had one place and they tore it down last year, and it really, really sucks. It was the abandoned Belglade prison up in Belglade, Florida. It was like a 250-acre abandoned prison.
Oh,
It was amazing, had a lot of activity, and there was so much.
abandoned? Why
Yeah,
don't we cool
for,
shit like that
for
here?
many, many, many years. I mean, the problem was Belglade, Florida is also like one of the highest gang populated cities in the country. So it was dangerous. You had to make sure you get there in the day and check everything. But I don't know if it was the gangs or other kids who went in or whatever it was, but people were just so disrespectful that I think that's why they wound up leveling it. They burnt the church down, which is just
Why would you
ridiculous.
do that?
No, it's just so stupid. And that church used to give us so much
Oh,
activity. It was just such a great place because, you know, again, I do like abandoned locations. I don't push them to the public like, hey, go do it because it is illegal. But
I do
this
too.
was this you couldn't get any more abandoned and isolated than this. This was in the middle of
And
the
active it
sugarcane.
sounds.
Yeah, it was in the middle of the sugarcane fields.
Wow.
About an hour from me, and it was just such a great place. I missed that. Mm. But
Wow.
I there's a lot of places I want to go and I haven't gotten. I just don't have the time. We do a lot of residentials. I have full-time job and conventions, and it's kind of tough, but that was one of my favorite places. It was just I like going if I'm going to go in with all the equipment and everything. I like going in an abandoned place because that's when you could really tell with equipment what's going on. You go into somebody's home and you were to bring something. There's so many things in there that cause false readings and triggers and all kind of stuff, and it's just fun to play around in there and see what you get. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it, and it's great for new members. They go up there and they could handle
Yeah,
a
for
prison
sure.
at 1 o'clock in the morning. You know that they're good.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think the spirit leaves the location if the house burns down?
It could, but I don't think so. That's why I think a lot of times, cases we deal with that we believe are paranormal, a lot of times it can be from people who lived on that land, who knows how long ago, before it was that house, before it was anything. Um, I don't, I don't think it would leave. It could move on. If it wasn't like stuck in that location, it may move on, but I don't think they really know the difference between like a house and the land. I think they're just kind of stuck in a different, thing because their energy.
Dimension or something.
Yeah, it's like a different dimension. Their energy. So I don't think they would leave if the house burnt down.
Yeah, I think it depends too. I think there's one factor because I think about that a lot because a lot of people are like, all this stuff. Like I remember somebody called me one time. I was like, this stuff is happening, but we just had the house built. It's brand
Mm,
new. I'm like, it could be the land, right? It could be the land.
exactly.
If you have an antique, apparently, sometimes people believe that things can be attached to antiques
Yeah.
or like old stuff. It could be attached to the person. So
Right.
if it's attached to the person, like if it's a family member or loved one, I don't want to say attached like it's a bad thing, attachment like it's a bad thing because that
Right. Right. Right.
can come off being bad. But I think it would go with the person if that's where that's at. But
Right.
I also agree with you that I think just because the domain isn't there anymore doesn't mean that
Right. It does, and it depends on what it's attached to. Is it attached to the location, to the house, the property, to an item, to a person? It really depends. And one of the things about learning how to do residentials is learning how to teach the actual people how to take care of things themselves, how to cleanse the stuff if they're going to go out and buy antiques all the time, just to be safe. Because it could be antiques that you're bringing in, but you got to know how to cleanse them and how to differentiate the difference between them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which I love antiquing. I'm a big antiquer, and I have never cleansed any of my shit.
Right. It's
I,
it's just
I'm
possible.
just
It
bad
doesn't
with that
mean,
stuff.
yeah, doesn't mean that's where it's going to come from. But to be safe, yeah, some people may want to. It depends on how far back they're getting this stuff.
So Boo Production Paranormal. They didn't ask a question. They just said the necrophonic app. I bring this up because I've used this right now.
Right.
A couple of times that I've used it, it's shocked me.
Right.
However, my brain still says it's an app. But how is it so on point with the question answer?
Well, it's a tough one. I mean, me personally, I don't like the apps.
I hate the app.
I don't like the apps. And one thing people don't understand about using an app, well, there's two things, and in those groups too. I tell them all the time. I was telling somebody today. There's two different parts to this. Number one, an app is a program, so it's programmed to respond. Actually, there's three things. It's programmed to respond. It's also most of the time creating your phone, like making your phone do something it was not created for and doesn't actually have the technology for. And that's where the IT side of me comes in. And then also you have to remember, I don't even recommend people using a phone to do voice recordings because your phone has so many things in it that are running in the background that are causing vibrations, sounds, every type of thing possible that even just doing a voice recording, you're going to get interference that you don't even know about, that you're not going to hear, you're not going to see, but it's going to cause interference and contamination into the actual recordings that you get. A lot of them are programmed to have, voice banks, sound banks, all kind of different things. I just don't trust them. It's just like online gambling. I wouldn't trust it because it's a programmed app. It's a
Right.
programmed thing,
Right.
for fun, but I wouldn't put money on it.
I'm telling you, like the responses, I'm like, why? How is this happening?
No, absolutely. I mean,
But I
it's
don't.
not
But I don't trust it.
right. It's not that it can't work.
So it doesn't make sense to me.
Right. That's the thing. It's not that it can't work. It's just that if I got something on my phone, I would have so many questions and so many
Oh, I do. Yeah.
logical things to go against it that I don't think I could take it in as actual evidence. But the best way is if you want to play with an app and you want to test it, have the real equipment next to you and see what kind of responses you're getting on both. People use that ghost tube all the time, which is an SLS app. It's like your phone doesn't have the technology to do SLS, and they don't understand what an SLS camera does and what it's looking for.
Right.
The only ones I've ever captured that I even use as, I don't want to say evidence, but interesting, outcomes
Phenomena.
is from the prison. I mean, we have some that were in a completely empty room. There's not a piece of furniture, not a thing in the room, and it was mapping things out that make no sense.
Right.
But the Ghost Tube app,
I didn't even hear. I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's everywhere. People are with it all the time because it turns your phone into an SLS camera.
I'd rather have something that turned my phone into like an infrared,
right,
like a
you
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like clear.
Right. And to me, again, I don't trust that one only because
I don't trust
the phone doesn't have the technology to map out those temperature things like that.
Right.
Some people say they do or they have it hidden, but no, it doesn't. It does. That's why a real FLIR gun costs like $1,000
or more.
Yeah, it's a different type. Oh, yeah, some of them are 5, 6, 7 that they use in the plumbing, but it's a specific type of technology. So yeah, you may get some interesting readings, and it's not that it could never produce something, but I don't
But
like
you
them
couldn't
at all.
use it.
No, I couldn't. I mean, I might play. You could play around with one, like I said.
When I say use it, I mean like you couldn't use it as evidence.
No, never.
When we were in Gettysburg, I was with SRS Paranormal, and we were using it, and literally he's putting his fingers up, and it's like 4, 3, 2, like saying, and I'm like, what is happening right now?
Right.
Like he's like, what color's my shirt? It's like blue. I'm like, I just fucking said blue. Your shirt's blue. Like, how is this happening?
Right. Right. Like a lot of people say the same thing about the Ovilus,
I
because
hate
it
the
has
ovules.
it has what?
I
You
hate
hate
the
it?
ovules. I
I
do.
like it. I like playing around with it. It's because, people don't like it because they say the same type of thing. It has a word bank in it. But I've seen it spit out words that aren't in a word bank. So that kind of makes it, and again, it's all about playing around with it. I have one picture with the Ovilus in a place down in Davie where we were inside this little house. It was like a museum, and we were asking if they like there was a record player there. So we said, "Oh, what type of music did you listen to? Did you enjoy music? Things like that." And it popped up a random word said Edison. And when we looked up, the brand of the record player was Edison.
Oh, cool.
So it's just things like that that kinda make it
Oh, yeah,
interesting,
every
you
once in a
know?
while, you could get something to scratch your head, like, not
But I
gonna
wouldn't
lie,
bring an
but
Ovilus in somebody's home, but,
right.
even if it spit out a name or something, I would kinda be a little hesitant of what's going on, 100%.
Ghost lube, we call it.
That is probably the one I see posted most of the time is people with that ghost tube, and as soon as I see it, and you can't miss it because it has the little stamp in the corner, you know? It says ghost tube. Yeah.
Right. Hi, John. Um, I think Gemma was next. Here, hold on, let me say.
Yeah.
We always talk about negative attachments, but have you ever come across people that have positive, playful attachments? I think we kind of talked about that, right? I said if it's a
Yeah.
family member.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been around people that, it was only affecting one person. I believe it was attached to them, and it wasn't bothering them. But the family, of course, wanted it out. There were younger kids and stuff like that. But yeah, I've seen it. I don't know about so much playful. I haven't seen that, but I've seen them to where they're not doing anything harmful or negative. Um, again, it's up to the person. Sometimes people don't want to get rid of them because they think it's a family member and they don't want to push the family member out. That we have that problem too a lot of times when you try to cleanse a home, but we try to explain to them the cleansing of a home is about your intent. So if you state your intent that you want the bad stuff out of there, but you want to leave anything that's good, it will leave them, you know. But yeah, I've seen plenty that were I don't know if you could say positive. I don't know if any of them are really positive, but not harmful or negative or, like that. Yeah.
Right. Um, do you like the Estes method?
Yes. I like that. I think it's a really great way to use the spirit box because it just kind of takes out that little bit of extra question about it. Because if you're sitting there with those headphones on and you're putting down words, it's completely different from everybody just listening to it and sitting there and talking and being kind of contaminated by what people are asking and everything. Yeah, I support that 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And Darren's like me. Like I like the old trifill meter, the old
Yeah,
one, the one that you had to set it, and
yeah,
it's like with the needle. I love that little thing.
yeah. It's tough, like people love the EMF meters, and the problem is, I will say this. You don't need to spend a lot of money on equipment to do this. You know that. Get an
Yeah,
audio recorder, get a video, get whatever's going into people's homes. If you want EMF, get it. I like EMF meters, but make sure you spend the extra couple dollars on that, things like that, because
yeah,
there's so many out there that are not real, and they come from China and they come from different places that they make them for $20, and they go crazy. They go off at stuff. I mean, you can hold it next to a real one and it will go off on nothing, and then when it's around something, it doesn't go off. It's just make sure certain things. Make sure you're getting the real equipment. Because make
absolutely.
sure you're getting what it was made to do.
And you know how to use it.
Yeah, know how to use it. Absolutely. That's what it goes back to. Like I said, learn about the stuff. You know, don't go out to a place. Don't go on Amazon, buy $100 worth of equipment, and then go wander off on your own into a place and not know what you're doing, because you could definitely cause a little bit of an issue for yourself.
Wow. He had to get his old school trifill from London.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're hard to get
They
apparently.
are.
And hi Robbie3. Um,
It's
of course,
it-
it's the one thing I want. See,
right.
this is me. I like, I like there'll be like 7 things standing up. It'll be the same. It'll be like the same thing. There'll be something a little bit different on something or the other.
Right.
And it could be anything. It could be a lamp. It could be a dress, a purse, shoes.
Mm.
I always pick the most expensive freaking one out of the entire thing. I'm like, oh my God, I love that. And it's the most expensive one.
Sometimes you get what you pay for. It's worth it sometimes for certain equipment. It's got to be, the price has to be good for what it is, not for because it's just rare and it's now $1,000 because you can't get it anywhere. If it's worth $1,000 for what it does, then I say, if you have it, get it. It could help. But
Yeah.
yeah, learn the equipment, learn the right stuff, learn how to use it, and you don't need to spend a lot of money. Again, I'm an IT guy, so I can't help it. If I go out and you have a piece of equipment I've never seen, most likely I have it purchased by the time I got home.
Yeah.
Which is
My favorite thing is EVPs, hands
yeah,
down.
no,
That's it.
absolutely.
I have like 7 recorders.
Oh, I have
Everybody's like, you have them record. I'm damn straight.
I have an entire case. There's probably about 30 in there. I have some that I still use sometimes that have cassette tapes.
That's
I
awesome.
have them old school. They're
I
and,
would
and
like
they're
to get
fun.
an old school one. Like Darren said, he's going to be using one this weekend.
Yeah, I like it. It's fun to play with. It's different. It produces. It produces. Hey, that's what I used years ago. So I'm just used to that. But I do have. Oh my God, almost every model number you could think of with most of them, except I do not own a DR60.
What's that?
One of the Panasonic DR60.
Oh, is
That,
this new thing or something?
no. This is
Oh, I hear
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody say you could buy a house with it if you have.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
It's what it is. It's a recorder that some will swear by and some will throw it at you. It's so expensive. It's a Panasonic recorder that they stopped making back in the late 90s and or early 90s, no, late 90s. It was a digital. But it's one of those things that it produces instant results almost every time you hit record because it has a flaw in it and it comes very staticky and things. But I have heard it work. So I will tell you it does work, but it's not like right now. If you go on eBay, they're between 4 and 5,000. And I don't think it's worth it because if that thing, it's a $20 voice recorder. If it breaks tomorrow, you can't get it fixed.
Right.
No.
No, I like Olympuses and
Yeah.
I like Olympus recorders. I tend to find that and I don't spend a lot of money
No, you don't
on
need to.
recorders. I
Mm.
don't. I spend anywhere from 60 to maybe 120, maybe,
Right. Right.
maybe, and
Right.
it's like I feel like if it's going to record, it's going to record. You know what I mean? Like you're going to pick it up, you're going to pick it up.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It depends on what it is. If you're paying $1,000 for a FLIR camera, you're paying for the technology in that camera. You're not paying because somebody said it was good, and people think they get more from it. It's a little different. Yeah, Zoom. Yeah, they're all good. I mean, I have so many types, but it's just preference. With any type of technology too, it's preference. Some people prefer Panasonic. Some people prefer Olympus. I have them all. I try them all.
I like Sony's. I have Sony's and I have
Yep.
Olympuses.
Yeah, I have Sony, Olympus, Zoom, everything.
Like
Panasonic.
Sony is technology. You know what I
Right.
mean? So for
Yeah.
me, I feel like Sony's are a little bit more reliable. But I don't even think about that. I don't even care. I just want something that's going to record because
Right.
you're not always going to just be. I do know that I have 6 recorders, and sometimes 2 will pick an EVP up, and 3 won't.
Right.
And you know what I mean? So it's. I mean,
I love the gear from Ghost Stop. I know Sean that owns Ghost Stop, and I love his gear. And for me, it's because a lot of times what they do is they take something we use and make it better because they are investigators. So they make things better. Like say, for instance, an SB7 spirit box. They made the S box, which has a built-in speaker that works well. It has a built-in rechargeable battery. It has an SD card that you could record the sessions. Things like that, that it just took what we already had and just made it a little better and more convenient.
Have you heard of DRV?
What is it?
Direct radio voice?
No, I don't think so.
You have to check out Ron Iacovetti and Lourdes Gonzalez, their page.
Okay.
So I did an investigation with them at Chrysler Mansion in March or whatever. Now, being an EVP lover,
Right.
it's amazing. So it's because I don't like spirit boxes. I don't like any of that kind of stuff because
Right.
I can sometimes hear with my ears, and I feel like the noise just kind of
Mm-hmm.
just messes with that,
Right.
So I prefer not to use those.
Right.
So this is the same it's sweeping, but it's not sweeping any radio waves.
Okay.
You're using a frequency where nothing is coming to it in the entire world.
Oh,
Like
okay.
there's no radio waves, no way that it could, and then you're hearing just white noise. That's it. And then they plug it into something, and I'm probably telling you the wrong thing, but I made Ron explain the entire process on my live video that night, so that
Right.
like I have it on record. But he plugs it in, and all of a sudden you hear a voice, and it's like he's like, that should not be happening because there's no radio waves coming to this frequency. There's nothing
Right.
coming to it.
Right.
So we shouldn't be hearing any voices.
Right.
So you have to check it out. It's called DRV, Direct Radio Voice.
I'll take a look at that. Yeah, definitely.
It's the most interesting thing. The most interesting EVP session I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, EVPs are my number one for anything. And when people start doing them and they use different recorders, they do different things, they're going to hear the difference. I mean, with
Yes.
P.E.R.S. there is a lot of static at times. I've heard them be extremely clear, and on other recorders I've heard them, straight out words and not staticky, not something that could have been, a glitch in something. When you get those, then you become a little more of a believer.
Yeah.
Because those voices you can't deny.
Right. Another thing I love is like I said, sometimes I can hear. So if I hear something, I say it right away.
Right.
I'm one of those annoying people that every little thing I'm like, what was that? Who is that? Did somebody say this? Did somebody do that? Because I'm constantly, because I can also hear. So
Right.
I want to make sure I'm not hearing something, and when I say what I just heard and it picks up on the recorder too.
Right.
And everybody around me is like, no, I didn't hear that. I didn't say it. I didn't hear it. I didn't say it. How do you explain that?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
I own a super ear. Do you think you could catch a disembodied voice more clear using one at a location?
Honestly, I don't think so, because if you're going to get a disembodied voice, you're going to hear it.
No matter what you have.
Yeah, you're going to hear it. No matter what you have. I heard one. I don't hear them that often, but I heard one.
I do. I love it.
Yeah, I have heard them, but there was one it was in the Gulfstream Hotel up in Lantana, up by where I work, and it was a lady scream. You hear the scream through the entire abandoned hotel. It was so clear. It's when you hear it. I don't think that a super ear would have just maybe captured a little louder, but I don't think it's gonna capture anything different.
Yeah, I love that's probably my most favorite thing is EVPs. I just love listening. People are like, how can you sit there and listen to the audio like that for hours? And I'm like, you have no idea the satisfaction. I mean, even if I'm listening to like 4 hours and I don't get anything, and then in the fourth hour and 2 minutes, I
Right.
get something. It was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So what do you got coming up?
So Actually, next week I'm a guest at MegaCon in Orlando. I have a
Awesome.
Yeah, I was proud. I was real happy about this one. I have a booth for 4 days, and they opened up a new horror section of MegaCon. So I'm up in the horror section, and I have two panels on Saturday the 21st. Uh, I think 2 and 4. So the 2 o'clock panel is all about public ghost hunting, and the 4 o'clock panel is all about residential.
Oh, cool.
And then there's a lot of stuff, but in the two big ones, that one, and then in August, I have Phantasm, which
Mhm.
is in Orlando also, and it's a big horror and haunt convention. And I'm kind of working with them a little bit now to help bring in a little more paranormal side to it. We're working on some things. I have a huge booth there. I'm doing probably 3 or 4 panels. It should be, pretty interesting. We're trying to pull in a little more on the paranormal side of it, hoping to open it up to a bigger paranormal convention.
What is it? It's called Phantasm?
Phantasm with an F. If Phantasm, I think it's Phantasm Official,
Make them
the
change
website.
it to PH.
Yeah, I think there'd be too many problems with that one. But they usually pull in a lot of decent guests, and it's very well organized. They get a lot of people in. They're different than a lot of the conventions they have. Like last
But
year
it
when we did
sounds
it,
paranormal.
yeah, but it started out as a horror and haunt, and they have like last year they had a full on. They built. We watched them build it. They had a full on walk through haunted house inside
That's
the hotel.
awesome.
Yeah, an escape room. They had, and unlike a normal
That sounds
convention,
fun.
yeah, unlike a normal convention, they have stuff going on until like 2, 3 in the morning.
Why are you
You know,
changing it? Keep it
no,
that
no, they're
way.
not. No, they're keeping it like that, but they're just adding paranormal to it. We're trying to build up paranormal a
It
little
should
more to it.
travel.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good show. We had a good time last year. This is like I think the third year that they're doing it. COVID kind of knocked them out one year, so I think this is the third year, and should be interesting.
That's awesome.
We're bringing down Kelly
I
with
wonder if
all
maybe
her.
they would come on and talk about it.
Yeah, I could talk to them. Yeah.
Yeah, see if they'll come on and want to talk about it. That's because that sounds really interesting. It's so different.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, it was a very interesting thing. They did a lot of stuff at night. They did they have what do you call it? A film festival. They do awards for the film festivals. They did late night Rocky Horror things, and I mean they have a lot of stuff going on all night. It doesn't end. When we were there until like 2, 3 in the morning every night. It wasn't like a normal convention. But they have their regular guests during the day, and there's tons of authors and a lot of cosplayers, and it was good. If you're
That's
into horror and
awesome.
paranormal and stuff, it's the definitely one to go to.
Yeah, Bill, if you could like hook me up with somebody that runs it or whatever, see if they'll
Sure.
come on. I would love to have them on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like fishing or slot machines.
Yeah.
That sounds really fun. I really want to talk to them and have them on. You can even come on with them if you want, but I mean,
Sure.
like, I would love to have one of them on, somebody on,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah, I'm sure they'd be willing to do it. They're looking to get out there and promote it a little more.
Yeah, that would be great. Um, so, well, that's awesome. You're not going to doing Gettysburg Battlefield Bash or
That's the same weekend.
oh, it's the
It's
same
the same.
weekend.
It's the same
Oh,
weekend. I didn't know, and I didn't even realize until Dom said something. It's the same weekend.
what about
Um,
Para Unity? No.
No, no. I have so many things that we just did something at the library down here by me because they always try to get us there, but COVID had them knocked out for a couple of years. They couldn't do live events, so it was good to get back there. And now the Miami library contacted me, and we try to go around. We got some schools possibly coming up, and I like to really go out there and try to educate people and teach them. You
Yep,
know,
that's what it's all about. That's what it
yeah.
should be. That's what it
The
should be.
conventions are fun. I enjoy the conventions. Now we're getting my booth and everything is getting much bigger. I mean, we have a lot of stuff. I have all my equipment there.
Yeah.
It's fun. We try to make it interactive as much as possible.
Well, that's awesome. And with all your equipment there and stuff and people there with you, you could always offer to do the ghost hunts or if they want to offer a ghost hunt or whatever the case may be. If
Yeah,
it ever gets to that point,
exactly.
you know. Awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah,
This was a good little chat we had, Bill.
absolutely. It was going all over the place.
Yeah, it did go. Well, that's my ADD.
Well, no, me too. I'll start drifting into things.
Yeah, that's my ADD. I really, really appreciate you coming on.
Sure, anytime.
Yeah, well, you'll have to come on again.
Yep.
Definitely want to have Phantasm people on. So if
Yeah.
you want to come on with them, that would be great.
Yeah, sure.
But I appreciate it. I feel like we got on at the right. We've been on an hour and 16 minutes.
Oh, wow. Doesn't even seem like it. Yeah.
It does not. It
Once
really
you
does.
start me talking, we'll be here till tomorrow.
Oh no, I love it. I love it. Is there anything else you want to add, talk about, and promote? I mean,
I don't think so. I think those are the two main things right now. Like I said, I would definitely, stay tuned to our website and our Facebook and stuff, because we do have some big announcements coming up that I can't really talk about yet. And
God,
I have a
everybody
lot of
says
things.
that on my show.
It's like everybody asks me, I always tell that I was filmed for a documentary that's coming out on Discovery, and I can't talk about it, and they're killing me because it's
No.
taking forever to actually put it on, and it's horrible because everybody knows about it, but they don't know what it is.
Right. Yeah.
I was filmed for it last June.
I hear it takes a long time. I hear it's like a year. I mean, I was in this is just a little thing, but we got pulled up to the front row at Kevin Hart's What Now stand up. And
Okay.
HBO was filming, right?
Right.
So we're in the front row, and literally HBO's cameras like in my face the whole time, right? And it rounds up the movie. The movie didn't come out for another year, almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
I was in it for 3 times, going like this, just laughing. That's it. But I was still in it. People were like messaging me like, "Did I just see your ass on my TV?" Like,
Yeah, I think it was over a year. The episode of Ghost Asylum I was on that time, from when they filmed it to when they put it on. With the Discovery one, I was told it was supposed to be the beginning of the year, and then you don't hear back from anybody too, and it's just you're just waiting. I know there's a lot of work involved and a lot of stuff, and you just sometimes you find out when it's airing tonight.
Right.
So that's the thing. I don't know, because I don't know exactly what it's going to be part of. If it's going to be like one of those shock docs, if it's going to be something else, I don't know. It's an interesting one though. So
Well,
I'm
that's
hoping it
awesome.
comes out soon.
And I'm happy for you. That's like, sounds like you got like good positive stuff going on. So that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I might have to watch it first before I promote it out there and see what I actually said. But
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. So after it comes out, you'll have to come back on then
yeah, absolutely.
and talk about it.
I'm working on some books and some stuff. I got a lot of stuff coming up, but
That you
that's
can't
why I
talk
have no
about.
time. Yeah, that's why I have no time.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on my show. I
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
again.
Thank you for your
Definitely.
time, and thank you to everybody that joined us. I mean, well, you're part of BB3 TV,
Yeah.
so he's a family member of BB3 TV, and we're happy to have him. And with that being said, I'm not going to use Darren's line. He always goes, "I bid you adieu," which I think is so fun. I love it, but I'm not going to use that line. But join me next week, Wednesday, 7:30. I'm actually having a show this Sunday too, late night. So that'll be with Mark Skygle. I hope I said that right. We'll be talking about Gettysburg.
Yep.
So,
and if anybody in Florida, come out to MegaCon next week. It's the 19th to the 22nd.
19th to the 22nd
in Orlando.
Oh, sounds so awesome. I would love to come out to Orlando.
That's like the biggest convention down here. They normally pull like about 120,000 people. It's
You ever
big.
gone to Gasparilla?
No.
In Ybor City?
I know Ybor City. I don't know that specifically, but
it's like a festival of like supposedly something, and I don't know how true it is. People talk, but something about pirates. It has something to do with like it's like a pirate.
I never heard the name, but I've heard something about that big pirate festival thing over there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I went once, and it's like a mini Mardi Gras in Ybor City. So
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. But anyway,
Yep.
Well, I will let you go.
All right.
enjoyed this thoroughly. Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks again for having me. Anytime.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will see you soon.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.